You know that feeling? That strange sensation of being in a crowded room, surrounded by laughter and conversation, yet somehow feeling completely alone. It's not just shyness. It's not simply introversion. For some people, it's something deeper. A quiet, almost existential hum of disconnection. A whisper in the back of the mind saying, "You see the world differently." But what if that feeling isn't a flaw? What if it's actually a feature, a byproduct of the very thing that makes you curious, reflective, and endlessly questioning? Welcome to the complex and often solitary world of the highly intelligent. For centuries, intelligence has been romanticized. We imagine the lone genius in an ivory tower, the brilliant detective solving mysteries no one else can understand, the visionary artist who sees patterns hidden in chaos. These figures inspire awe. But there's a question we rarely ask. What price do they quietly pay? Behind those sharp minds and fast thoughts, there are often silent struggles. And this isn't just about the stereotype of socially awkward nerds. That explanation is far too simple. Instead, it may come down to something more fundamental, a subtle mismatch between a highly tuned mind and a world operating on a different frequency. Today, we're exploring a fascinating paradox: why intelligence can sometimes lead to loneliness. It's a phenomenon rarely discussed, not something you hear about alongside celebrity gossip or trending news. Yet it affects many people. In a strange way, it's like a psychological mystery, not a crime committed against someone, but a quiet isolation woven into extraordinary minds. Humans evolved as social creatures. Our ancestors survived by forming tribes and sticking together. But modern research suggests something surprising. For some highly intelligent individuals, the very cognitive traits that define intelligence may actually reduce the desire for frequent social interaction. It's a strange inversion of what we normally expect. Imagine discovering that for certain elite athletes, running more actually makes them perform worse. It sounds counterintuitive. But why would intelligence work this way? To understand it, we need to look at three key ideas. The first is something we can call the cognitive chasm. Imagine standing on one side of a massive canyon. On the other side are people speaking a language that feels slightly foreign.
They communicate through simple signals and casual conversation. Meanwhile, your mind is fluent in a much more complex language, one filled with abstract ideas, deep analysis, and layered meanings. This isn't about superiority. It's about processing speed and depth. Highly intelligent minds tend to detect patterns faster. They connect ideas more quickly. They often see implications long before others do. Think of it like frame rates in a video. Most people experience social interaction at around 30 frames per second, smooth and comfortable. But a highly analytical brain might be running at 120 frames per second. It constantly notices hidden context, future consequences, and subtle motivations. So during a casual conversation about the weather, that fast mind may already be thinking about climate systems, global patterns, and long-term environmental impacts. As a result, small talk can feel exhausting, not because the person dislikes people, but because the brain is dramatically understimulated. It's like using a supercomputer to calculate 2 plus 2. The mismatch creates what feels like intellectual isolation. While others are comfortable wading in shallow water, the highly curious mind longs for deep dives. The second factor is the weight of awareness. Intelligence doesn't only change how fast you think, it changes what you notice. Many intelligent individuals become deeply aware of complex systems, social structures, global inequality, environmental threats, political dynamics. It's like seeing the world through a sharper lens. While others see the surface, they see the underlying machinery. This heightened awareness can be powerful, but it can also feel heavy. Imagine being deeply concerned about climate change, global poverty, or systemic injustice, while the people around you are enthusiastically discussing a reality TV show or the latest viral trend. There's nothing wrong with those conversations, but the gap in perspective can feel enormous. You may feel like you're carrying a backpack filled with heavy stones, while everyone else is walking freely with almost no weight at all. Over time, that emotional difference can create a quiet form of existential loneliness. It isn't cynicism. Often, it's simply sensitivity to the world's complexity, and that sensitivity can make genuine connection harder to find. Finally, we reach the third factor, the quest for quality.
Because of the cognitive gap and the weight of awareness, highly intelligent individuals often develop extremely high standards for their relationships. They're not just looking for people to pass the time with. They're searching for genuine intellectual and emotional connection. Imagine two different fishing strategies. Most people cast a wide net. They gather many acquaintances to satisfy different social needs. But highly selective thinkers often use a very fine net. They're looking for rare individuals, people who enjoy deep conversations, abstract ideas, honest vulnerability, and meaningful debate. Naturally, this approach dramatically reduces the number of potential connections, but it also increases the value of each one. For them, one meaningful conversation can feel more fulfilling than dozens of superficial ones. In fact, research published in the British Journal of Psychology found something remarkable. For highly intelligent individuals, frequent social interaction was sometimes linked to lower life satisfaction. That's the opposite of what we see in the general population. It's as if their minds are optimized for high bandwidth connections, not constant social networking. This isn't about being antisocial, it's about being selectively social. And that selectivity can sometimes lead to loneliness. So does this mean intelligence is a curse? Not at all. Understanding this phenomenon is important because the experience is real. That moment when you realize frequent socializing doesn't actually increase your happiness, or the strange feeling of being intellectually out of sync with your environment, these are not personal failures. They may simply be side effects of a deeply analytical mind. But the story doesn't end there. In recent years, something fascinating has emerged: niche online communities. From specialized forums discussing obscure scientific ideas to communities exploring philosophy, psychology, and complex systems, the internet has created new digital tribes, places where the cognitive gap shrinks, where the weight of awareness is shared, where the search for quality connection finally has a chance. These spaces don't replace real-world relationships, but they provide something many people desperately need: a place where their language is understood. So if you've ever felt that quiet hum of disconnection, that sense of being slightly alien in familiar surroundings, remember this.
You're not broken. You may simply have a mind that processes the world differently. Your intelligence isn't a curse. It's your operating system. And like any system, it works best in the right environment. The goal isn't to change who you are. It's to find people who resonate with you. Your tribe might be small. It might be scattered across the world. But when you find it, the silence between minds disappears. Because even the brightest stars need a galaxy to truly shine.